The WNBA just witnessed its biggest financial disaster in league history, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is in full panic mode. What started as Caitlin Clark's hometown celebration in Indianapolis turned into a 75% ticket price crash that exposed the league's dirty little secret. They literally put up a 34-story banner of Clark on the JW Marriott, sold out the arena in minutes, then watched helplessly as fans demanded refunds when she couldn't play. But here's what nobody's talking about: the real reason behind her injury and why Angel Reese just made things even worse with her latest comments. Before we dive into this insane story, make sure you hit that like button if you think the WNBA needs to protect its stars better. Trust me, what you're about to hear will blow your mind. Picture this: Indianapolis spent millions preparing for the biggest WNBA weekend ever. The city installed a replica basketball court at the airport. Downtown businesses hired extra staff expecting record crowds. Hotels were completely booked. The average ticket price hit $262, with courtside seats going for thousands. This was supposed to be the moment that proved the WNBA had finally made it. The 34-story banner of Clark wasn't just big, it was 113,000 square feet of pure hype, bigger than the NCAA tournament bracket they put up in 2021. Local businesses ordered special Caitlin Clark merchandise. Restaurants created themed menu items. The entire city was ready to celebrate their hometown hero. Then July 17th happened, and everything fell apart faster than you can say groin injury. Within hours of Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, those $262 tickets crashed to $64. That's not a typo. We're talking about a 75% collapse in value. Sellers were desperately trying to dump tickets at any price. The get-in price dropped from $121 to just $65. And even then, nobody was buying. Social media turned into a marketplace of desperation. Fans who bought tickets for thousands were begging for anyone to take them at a fraction of the cost. One seller posted, "Bought these for $800, we'll take $200, and still got no takers." The panic was real, and it was spreading like wildfire. But wait, it gets worse. This wasn't just about one game. When Clark missed regular season games earlier, ticket prices dropped 47% in Washington and 71% in Chicago. The pattern was clear. No Clark equals no interest. The league just didn't want to admit it. Here's where things get really interesting. The injury didn't just happen randomly. Clark has been taking hits all season that would make an NFL linebacker jealous. Last year alone, she received 20% of all flagrant fouls in the entire league. 20%! And most of them came from one team, Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. These weren't basketball plays either. We're talking about players literally laughing after hammering Clark to the ground. In any other workplace, people would be facing assault charges. But in the WNBA, the refs just swallowed their whistles and looked the other way. The most egregious example? That infamous hip check from Chennedy Carter that sent Clark flying. Carter celebrated afterward while her teammates laughed. The refs? They called it a common foul. The league had to upgrade it to a flagrant after massive backlash, but the damage was done. The message was clear: open season on Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White, the Fever coach, has been screaming about this all season. She flat out said there's a level of physicality allowed against Clark that other players don't face, and she's not being dramatic. The video evidence is overwhelming. Defenders grabbing her arms, shoving her off screens, body checking her on drives, all with zero calls. What's even more frustrating is the double standard. Aaliyah Boston can't play 20 minutes without fouling out on touch fouls, but opponents can literally tackle Clark with no consequences. The inconsistency isn't just bad officiating, it's targeted officiating. The Washington Post didn't hold back either. They suggested the league should change its logo to a bruise and its motto to "no call." When mainstream media is calling out your officiating that harshly, you know something's seriously wrong. They documented 57 head and neck injuries in just 2.5 seasons. This isn't basketball. It's barely controlled chaos. Lisa Leslie, the WNBA legend, knows exactly what Clark is dealing with. She had the same groin injury back in 2006 and dropped a truth bomb that should terrify every WNBA fan. These injuries can linger for months or even years. Leslie said she can still feel it when she plays tennis today. That's nearly 20 years later. The groin is an area you can't just touch and say it hurts right here. Leslie explained, "You feel it deep. One wrong move, one change of direction, and boom, you're right back to square one with that pain." Her words paint a grim picture for Clark's immediate future. Think about that for a second. The league's refusal to protect its biggest star might have caused an injury that could affect her entire career, all because they wouldn't call obvious fouls. Meanwhile, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's response to the crisis was so tone-deaf it made things worse. When asked about the officiating disaster during All-Star Weekend, she gave the most corporate non-answer imaginable. She called a meeting productive and constructive, while Indianapolis businesses were literally counting their losses. No one's ever happy with officiating in any sport, Engelbert said with a straight face. Really? That's the response when your biggest revenue generator is injured because of bad reffing? She talked about maintaining profitability while vendors were stuck with thousands in unsold merchandise. Fans wanted accountability. They wanted someone to admit the refs screwed up. Instead, they got corporate speak about shared goals and maintaining dialogue. No wonder the boycott intensified. The disconnect between leadership and reality has never been more obvious. The All-Star game itself? An absolute embarrassment. Empty seats everywhere in what was supposed to be a sold-out arena. The energy was so flat, it felt like a practice scrimmage. They even tried some gimmicky four-point shot that made the whole thing look like a glorified layup line. Players were literally just chucking up shots from deep with zero defense. No intensity, no competition, just going through the motions. Fans who did show up called it an abomination to basketball. When your showcase event gets roasted that badly, you've got serious problems. But here's the kicker. The biggest story wasn't even the game. It was the New York Liberty mascot openly recruiting Clark during the weekend. Their mascot got more attention than the actual All-Star game. Ellie the Elephant was spotted multiple times approaching Clark, even showing up at team events. The Liberty weren't even trying to be subtle about it. The brazenness was actually impressive. While the league was dealing with a financial meltdown, the Liberty saw an opportunity and took it. They understand what the WNBA leadership doesn't. Clark is the golden ticket, and you do whatever it takes to get her on your team. That tells you everything about where this league is headed without its biggest draw. The numbers tell a brutal truth. Without Clark, the WNBA can't sustain the momentum they've built. This wasn't just about missing one player, it was about exposing how the entire growth narrative depends on her. Strip away Clark's star power, and you're left with a product that fans simply won't pay for. Here's what really gets me fired up. Every other major sports league protects its stars. Can you imagine the NBA letting LeBron get hammered every game without calls? Or the NFL letting Patrick Mahomes take late hits constantly? It would never happen. But the WNBA seems determined to destroy its own golden goose. The financial impact goes way beyond ticket sales. Vendors who stocked up on all-star merchandise took massive losses. Restaurants that staffed up for huge crowds sent workers home early. Hotels dealt with cancellation after cancellation. The economic ripple effect hit the entire downtown Indianapolis area. One vendor reported losing over $15,000 on Clark-specific merchandise they couldn't move. A downtown restaurant owner said they had to throw away thousands in extra food inventory. These aren't just numbers. These are real businesses taking real losses because the league can't protect its star player. And it's not just about money. The WNBA had everything handed to them. A generational talent bringing in new fans, record viewership, unprecedented media coverage. They turned it into a masterclass on how to fumble success. Sophie Cunningham has been taking similar abuse this season, proving this isn't just about one player. It's about a league that refuses to protect the athletes who actually bring in revenue. The inconsistency is maddening too. Clark gets held and grabbed all game with no calls, but breathe on an opposing player and it's an instant whistle. What makes this even more frustrating is that we saw this coming. Fans have been warning about the officiating all season. Social media has been full of video evidence showing the obvious bias. But the league stuck its head in the sand and pretended everything was fine. The fan response has been savage. Hashtags like "No Clark, No Watch" trended for days. Season ticket holders publicly announced they wouldn't renew. The message couldn't be clearer, but the league seems determined to ignore it. Now they're paying the price. A 75% ticket crash isn't just a bad day, it's a vote of no confidence from fans. People are literally saying, if you won't protect the players we came to see, we won't come at all. The irony is incredible. The WNBA spent years begging for attention and support. They finally get it with Clark. And their response is to let her get beaten up every game until she's too injured to play their showcase event. This all-star disaster should be a wake-up call, but will they listen? History suggests probably not. The league seems more interested in protecting the status quo than protecting its actual stars. The real question now is what happens next? Will Clark come back from this injury at full strength? Will the officiating ever improve, or will we watch the WNBA throw away its best chance at mainstream success? One thing's for sure, fans have made their position crystal clear. No Clark means no tickets. The league can either adapt to this reality or watch their newfound success evaporate as quickly as those ticket prices crashed. If you think the WNBA needs to wake up and protect its stars, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This story is far from over, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Comment below. Do you think the league will finally learn its lesson, or is this just the beginning of their downfall? Let me know what you think.